just been to the loo and managed to transfer safely to my Triride. I'm still having to use the Triride to drag myself around because my back is too sore to push the wheelchair around, and there are too many obstructions here to do that effectively anyway. So I've got to try and get my wheelchair out of the bathroom, and I have to faff like this every time. Sometimes it gets so stuck I can't unstick it, and if I'm able to, I can get out of the chair to crawl, or on a good day, walk, and I just leave the chair until I've been able to sort my back out, come back and try and deal with it. But I can't keep doing that because I can lose 4 or 5 hours just trying to get my mobility equipment available for me to actually use in the way it was intended. And the crawling around has buggered my back so much that I can barely walk. This is the space I'm trying to negotiate. So the fire service moved the fridge there because the door there opens that way. And in the kitchen, without the Triride, just with the wheelchair, when I tried to use the fridge in that corner right there, the door would open, so it was like that, and it was incredibly challenging to get this chair in this little space here without smashing that metal door there with this or any of the metal components that stick out the front of my chair. That glass door, you know, if I break that, Sandwell Council are going to say I've vandalised the cooker or something, aren't they? So, anyway, the fridge was there, and when I was in my wheelchair and the door was open and I'd finally managed to get my wheelchair past the door so that I could try and access a smoothie, I fell and my head got jammed in that corner right there. And I couldn't get out because my ears were stuck. I had the cabinet on one side of my neck and the fridge on the other, and the door was open on the fridge, so it was cold. And it took me over 2 hours in order just to be able to get up, in order to be able to move the fridge, because I've got a spinal cord injury, so I couldn't simply push it aside and free my head. I had to slowly get my body around onto my hands and knees and stable so that it could bear my weight, and edge the fridge inch by, or it wasn't even inches, it was by centimetres. So the pain of doing that meant I could only do it bit by bit, and it took, well, I haven't recovered properly yet because I can't. I would normally probably have recovered within about a week, but that would have been with almost complete rest. I can't meet my basic needs in this space in order to function. So managing pain effectively is just not possible. I can't even maintain it to hygienic levels at this point because the space just doesn't accommodate my wheelchair, and crawling around it is making my pain worse and my mobility worse. And so on the 10th of February, I was invited to Newquay Orchard to meet people from the Duchy of Cornwall, and King Charles and I made eye contact while I was gardening in the flower beds there, you know, And yes, my wheelchair was right next to me, but I had my stick and I was getting up and down and digging around in the mud so happily I hadn't even realised how close everyone was getting. And now, I don't know what the date is, but I do know that it's only been a few weeks. I'm so fucking disabled. I can't even push my wheelchair. I can't get outside. Look. There's a threshold by that door, which really doesn't look that much, but that mark there is where my Triride ripped the vinyl off the floor, trying to drag my wheelchair across that. Even the Triride struggles. So how is a physically disabled 50-year-old supposed to manage to get past it? And that's the only door that I can actually open, because on the other side of that bathroom door, there's a great big wooden door that goes into the main building that I can't open to get through. And the doors to the main building are not accessible either. So this is the only door I'm able to go through with my wheelchair or on foot. And this door is so challenging. Okay. Right, so, I mean, the mats don't help at all, but they, in terms of traction or anything, but they do help to try and get some of the mud off the wheels so I don't track it all in. But that stuff there stops my wheelchair from coming in and out of the flat. And then there's all that bloody grass to get past, and it's all an uphill slope. So if I want to get out there, I have to get this. I can't even reach it right now. So I can't get out there to show you. That's called a freewheel. I clip it on here, which it's even moved this. So now my freewheel won't work properly because it's at the wrong angle, but it makes the wheelchair do this. So it's like a manual version of this wheel there. It lifts these little wheels off the floor so that the wheelchair can move more easily over like flagged paving stones like that, over grass. It kind of lets me have a workout. So I have to use that and have a workout just to reach that pavement over there, and then go all the way around that path and the car park, which doesn't have enough lowered curbs, to try to get to the bins. And I can't lift the lid on the bin, so I have to just drop my bag of rubbish next to the bins and take off and leave it for someone else to deal with, because I have to get back here and try and work out how to get drinks when I've tried putting the kettle on the fridge, but I've still got to get the water from the sink, which isn't wheelchair accessible, across all that empty floor over to where that, I can't twist, that thing behind me is. And then I'm trying to keep the place clean. I've got my little vacuum, but that's the only vacuum I can use. I can't use a broom. They just don't, I can't work them. So that's what I use. And in the caravan it was fine, but this floor is so big and I'm tracking so much mud in from going across that stuff that, and then I have to crawl around while I'm preparing food. So my hands are never clean. Anyway, I can't get any help from social services or anything that goes through the local authority because this property is described as being wheelchair accessible. I got stuck in the bathroom the other night and had to have some council repairmen come to free me. They are going to change that key in the lock for something called a thumb turn, and that's the only thing they can do to make this flat any safer for me. Which is really worrying because when the fire alarms went off, the fire brigade didn't actually remember to evacuate me, and they were here for over 2 hours between 2 o'clock and 4 o'clock one morning. And I was sat like a freaking idiot waiting for help because everybody else was in the car park. There were flashing lights everywhere. The alarms were going off. It very clearly wasn't just a fire alarm, but nobody came for me. So if I don't make it to my trial, it's not because I wasn't trying to be able to go and take responsibility for my actions when I set fire to the bungalow, because I was stressed about dealing with the council. It's because I probably will have either been burned to death because the fire service won't be able to get me out of this, well, won't remember to get me out, and I won't be able to get out, or else I'll fall in this bathroom where there's a little pull cord right by the ceiling that I can't access, and when I'm in there, there's like no phone signal, and I've got a bloody multi-signal, well, there is a phone signal, but it drops, and I've got a multi-network SIM that can connect to the strongest out of any of the big four, and I still can't make an emergency call if I fall in there. And I do keep falling in there because the wheelchair equipment keeps getting jammed and I can't access it safely. So there is this box on the wall up here that goes off intermittently from time to time. That's great fun, talking to people that wake me up and what have you. No, I haven't pressed the button. No, I don't have a pendant. No, I don't know anything about it. I have to sit and make videos of me just sitting there on the bed at an empty doorway so that I can prove that I haven't been going and pushing the button or anything stupid, just in case I get accused of... Oh, it's stupid. Anyway, right. It's a wheelchair accessible flat. My wheelchair can't get through the door without me either bumping my spine and hurting myself, plus the physical wheel is, after doing that assault course with the grass and everything, has just broken me. So I'm a lot more feeble and disabled than I really need to be. And then the mental challenges of trying to get support when every single referral, whether it's from the fire service or the bloody police, whether it's from the NHS or a different council, all goes to social services at Sandwell Council and housing. And even James McLaughlin, the assistant chief executive of Sandwell Council, who apologised to me for experiences like this after we met in February, thinks that this flat is wheelchair accessible and therefore this is the safe home that I asked for as an outcome of that meeting. It's just, I don't know how to help these people understand that in order to be wheelchair accessible, it is nice to be able to use a wheelchair in the space. I can't access an appropriate support worker to help me to communicate this to Sandwell because they get assigned by the council, and they keep saying that I'm capable of doing these things for myself, which I am with any other kind of organisation. I can handle most things, but as soon as anything to do with my local authority is affected, I'm buggered because, I mean, they control everything. They control my access to carers. They decide the care needs assessment, and so, you know, we discuss the challenges and then they write down the offer of help, and it never covers the challenges, but you have no choice to accept it. And then they determine how much you have to pay for it and whether you get any support to submit your financial information to have it based on your income or not. They generate figures from God knows where that mean that you end up being charged so much for care that you don't need for your disability, but purely because you can't possibly use your wheelchair in this space, and then end up paying out of pocket for the help. Or in my case, I have to then pay out of pocket for the help that I need because of my spinal cord injury. Only I can't because I can't access benefits. When I speak to Universal Credit, they ask me questions about concerts or movies that I watched 40 years ago, and I can't remember that because all of my mental faculties are trying to work out how to have a drink without having a fall and then get to the toilet without having a fall. And they say, well, we can't proceed unless you pass security. We'll rebook the call for when you have a support worker. And I try to explain that I can't get a support worker to help me to get past the security question because the referrals all go to my local authority. There were about 9 between November and January, and it was a lady called Shosh from a charity called or NHS something in Cornwall called Pentreth that helped me get as far as seeing someone at the job centre. But then she changed my claim from a phone or face-to-face claim, which had taken ages to arrange, back into an online claim. I couldn't do what I needed to. I couldn't get support to do what I needed to. And then I got sanctioned. So it's not just housing costs I can't access. I'm also now getting sanctioned because I can't access a support worker to access the support that I need. I can't function well enough in this flat to meet my basic day-to-day needs without either experiencing injuries from falls or incredible back pain from crawling around the floor. And when I'm talking about back pain, let me be clear that sciatica feels like electric shocks from a cattle prod ripping up and down my spine. It used to be in just one location and leg. But now there's like 5 different points of pain in my spine for which I can't get any help from the hospital because I can't get as far as seeing a medic because I need to talk to the ambulance service about transferring my chair and people at the hospital about lying down periodically to reset my spine so I can manage my familiar pain effectively long enough to be able to see a medic. So far, I've had several attempts and failed. I'm going to try again today if I can get a shower, but you've seen that bathroom. Oh. I freely admit that I'm stupid. I freely admit I'm crazy or whatever. I mean, I'm so overwhelmed. My brain is like fizzing and whirring like a broken, clunky machine. And the stress of trying to meet my basic daily needs is so time consuming, trying to do that safely, that there just isn't an awful lot of time left to keep making calls to all these charities that signpost me elsewhere or refer me back to the local authority. I'm utterly broken by this. I just don't know how to maintain a life worth living because I do have one, or there is one out there for me if I can just meet my day-to-day needs and get out there to it. But I mean, time outside every day, making happy memories with my friends and family and being a part of the local community, that's all I need to have a life worth living. And I honestly don't think that that's too much to ask. I just would really like some help to work out how to bypass my local authority and achieve that, please, because I can't even work out how to get to the toilet safely at this point, let alone how to take on Sandwell Council and try and explain to them what's needed to make a home safe. I just can't even think at this point. I accept I'm not human. If I was, I would be able to have a safe home. Either that, or I am human, but I'm too stupid to understand how to access a safe home. But I've been a Sandwell Council tenant for 15 years now, and the only time that I've been safe in my own home was the period that I spent in Cornwall after I set fire to my local authority-owned bungalow. But I would like to make it to trial so that I can take responsibility for my actions. I just am very scared that I'm either going to be completely crippled by the time that comes along, or I will have died. And that would suck. It really would.